More than 1,000 Oregon bridges need repair or replacing. Older bridges are at the top of the list, and transportation workers are racing to keep ahead of the curve.
A Newswatch 12 investigation found out that work is planned on some bridges, but efforts are falling behind on others.
Newswatch 12's Stephen Sandberg examined bridges in southern Oregon, and he has more on their conditions and what's being done to fix them.
Some bridges in southern Oregon were built in the 50s and 60s. Table Rock Road Bridge over I-5 is one of them. But some of those bridges are now reaching the end of their lifespans, and transportation workers are trying to make sure they stay safe.
These bridges are aging, and a lot of them are reaching the end of their useful life.
They're starting to show their age. Bridges seeing more traffic and more wear and tear, leaving officials trying to find ways to fix or replace them.
When they were built 50 years ago, we weren't running the weights on them that we do today.
Bridges are inspected every 2 years and rated on a scale from 0 to 100 based on age, width, whether it's cracking or its support is solid. Tolo Bridge over I-5, built in 1955, was rated 35. Table Rock Road Bridge over I-5, built in 1961, rated a 34. And East Main Street over I-5 in Ashland, built in 1962, rated 13. They're considered structurally deficient, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're unsafe. In these cases, it's because they're 50 to 60 years old, not built to today's standards, and showing some cracks.
We tighten those bridges and get as much life out of them as we can. But down the road, we're going to need to see more repairs on or replacements on a lot of the bridges.
A report by the Associated Press found more than 65,000 bridges nationwide were structurally deficient and more than 20,000 were fracture critical. That means there are several red flags about the age of the bridges and their physical conditions. In the most recent data from the National Bridge Inventory, we found Oregon has more than 1,700 deficient bridges. That's actually better than most states. A bonding project allowed ODOT to repair many bridges on main roadways. Many sections of I-5 in southern Oregon are rated in the 80s and 90s.
We couldn't do all of the bridges that needed repair, but we did do a lot of the bridges on these critical freight routes to keep traffic moving.
But many older bridges are reaching the end of their lifespans.
We're getting behind the curve again.
But the work keeps going. The Fern Valley Road Bridge in Phoenix has had a weight limit to prevent damage. Next year, it will be replaced as part of ODOT's work on the interchange.
We try to replace them before we have to start weight limiting them, because once you start weight limiting on them, then you start affecting, the flow of goods or fire access and other things like that.
And Tolo Bridge is also scheduled for repairs next year.
We're going to go in and do what's called crack injections on that, and also pin the deck to the structural support of that bridge just to extend the life of it.
But eventually, those old bridges will need to be replaced. Whether there will be money for it in the budget remains to be seen.
Probably about the cheapest bridge to replace is around $500,000, and more typically it's a $1 to $2 million endeavor.
They are infrastructure problems being faced across the country.
If you don't take care of it, eventually it goes, and it costs those trillions of dollars to put it back.
ODOT says some of the issues with these bridges is that freight weighs a lot more than it used to. In the 60s, freight was about 80,000 pounds, but today, most trucking freights are about 105,000 pounds. In Medford, Stephen Sandberg, Newswatch 12.